Hello YouTube, welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and I'm just coming off of a sickness. I still got it, but I ain't been feeling too good. Been in and out of the hospital for the last couple of weeks, and it's getting a little old for me. And I thought I'd try to do a video today, and I kind of show you what I got going on over here. As everybody remembers, the press that I restored, you got to forgive the mess over here, but yeah, this is a small shop and ain't got a whole lot of places to put nothing. But anyway, I keep running into a problem with this not being wide enough on the inside diameter. So basically what I'm going to do is, in order to still use these plates, this is how I have to do it. I'm not buying no new plates. I'm not making no new plates. Yes, I could, but I'm not going to. I'm going to replace these plates right here. And as you can see, they're only, looks like probably 1/8 inch. And we're going to replace it with this plate, which is 1/4 inch thick. And we're just going to cut us 2 pieces to fit in the place of that. Cut this one out and put this one in place of it. Now, that's going to create a new problem. These pins, there's going to be such a gap in between these pins that when you go putting pressure on, it's going to bend your pins. You don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is make up the difference in here with a plate that goes in here, and I will give you an example. Let's say that this is the thickness of what we need. We'll have that welded on the inside of that to make up the difference for how wide we make this table. So that piece is going to be cut out of this tire changing tool. We're going to cut this off right here. We're going to cut this off right here. And then we're going to cut that in 2, however long we need it. And we're going to weld these to the inside of here. That will make up the difference of what we add. Alright, once we've got that, we're going to stick something in here, clamp it all together, and we're going to stick something in there that's probably 1/8 inch thick to give us a clearance. Once we've got this clamped, then we're going to cut this plate to fit whatever this comes to. So the first thing I got to do is come over here, because I only got one piece of this so far. So we're going to have to cut another one out. We've got to cut these welds here along here and separate this piece from this piece. So between this and this, we should have enough to do this job. Now I'll get this and try to go into more detail. So basically, let's pretend that this is this piece right here. This would work, but I ain't got enough of that. That would weld to the inside of that from the top or bottom to the top, and that will take up the slack, and that's going to be this piece right here. I don't even know if I got you guys in frame here. I did, but barely. So the reason for this is to keep this as close to the C channel that this rides up and down on, so that it doesn't bend our pins. So basically it's going to be like that right there on each side. And that should have our table a little wider. So that means I gotta take my camouflage tape off, daggone it. Anyway, we're gonna work on that and start cutting our pieces up and getting this separated, cutting this to width or length, which would be as long as this is wide, and we'll be back. When you're doing something like this, it's a good idea to have something to hold this in case it falls. You don't want it to fall on your foot or fall and break something that's underneath here. So I'm just putting a clamp here to act as a table so that when this does break loose from the welds, it'll land on my clamp and not on the floor and break something. So that's what we're doing. And now we've got it separated. Now I got a nice piece of C channel I can use for something else. Alright. Now I got a ringing in my ear from pounding on that. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to clean up all these welds. So we're going to do that now. Got to change my bit, or my blade. Alright, now I've got some stock to work with to make anything I want. So we're going to get started cutting. Probably going to go ahead and separate those two pieces. The table for the vise, or for the press, and start cutting our spacers. So we'll get on that. Now we're going to cut this apart, and because there's a weld on the inside, I can't get in there with the grinder, not comfortably. You know, I can't get in there, so I'm just going to cut them in half right here, because I'm going to throw them away or use them for something else anyway. So basically I'm just going to cut them in half. Once I get them separated, then I'll clean all that off of there. So we'll start with that. Alright guys, we've got our spacers made, and those will go on there just like that. This will be your C channel. It goes up the sides. So next thing we need to do is weld. Go ahead and weld these in place, and I kind of don't want to do that. I'm going to stick weld it, so I don't want to do it stick welding inside, so I'm going to have to do the stick welding outside. So I'm going to have to get set up outside, and I think what we're going to do is call this part 1. And the next part 2 will weld these up. So I think that'll have it, and that'll widen this by, let's see, about 2 inches, something like that, whatever the thickness of this is. Inch and a quarter plus an 1/8, so we're going to be at 1 3/8 inches wider than what we were. So we were at 3 3/8. So 1 3/8 would be 4 3/4. Is that right? No, I don't believe that is right. We may have to weld them in that way. we weld them in that way, that'll get us a little wider table. Yeah, I'm going to have to mock this up on the press and go from there. So, you guys stay tuned. This will end part 1, and we'll talk at you later.